Okay guys, I wanted to go ahead and make a little refresh video on how to take something in standard form, in ax squared plus bx plus c form, and rewrite it into vertex form. Okay, so the first step is to group the first two terms, the x squared and the x term, together. Okay, and you exclude the c term, in this case the plus 1, you exclude that from your group. We don't want to drop him entirely, but for a while we kind of ignore this outside number. The number in front of x squared is 2, and we call that the a value. And what we want to do next is actually factor that a value away from both the x squared and this term, the 3x. Now you might be thinking, wait, how can you factor it away from 3? Well, it's not going to look pretty. That's going to be 3 over 2. X. Okay. Sometimes that ends up being, a nice number, and sometimes it ends up being a fraction, and that's okay. So then we got to take 3 over 2, the number in front of x, and divide it by 2. And I like to do this part off to the side. Remember, when we're dividing by 2, we're really dividing by 2 over 1, which really means we must flip and multiply. So 3 over 4. And remember that we take that value, in this case 3 over 4, and what we're going to do is add that to the inside of what's already in the parentheses. I'm sorry, you square it and you add it in to what's inside the parentheses. Now I know that 3 over 4 squared is 9 over 16. I like to leave this though as it is. I will make some of my steps down the road a little easier. But it would be important to realize that 3 over 4 squared is 9 over 16. And so right now, it might look like you're adding in 9 over 16 to the right-hand side of the equation. But this 9 over 16 right here is actually being multiplied by 2. So really, what you've added in is 9 over 8. Okay? To keep the equation balanced, in order, in algebra we always say what you do to one side you must do to the other. Really what we've added in on the right-hand side is 9 over 8. And so we must add that in on the other side as well. Okay, to keep our equation balanced. So right now this is looking pretty ugly. Alright, but what we're going to try to do is take what's in the parentheses, kind of ignore this, ignore that. What we're going to do is try to factor this. Alright, so to create the x squared, we think x and x. Now notice these are both pluses, so these both have to be pluses. And we're multiplying to 3 over 4 squared. Well, the very nature of squaring something means you're multiplying it by itself. So we have a 3 over 4 and a 3 over 4, which means we actually have the same factor twice. And if you have done this correctly, these two factors should be identical every time. And so that means we have that factor squared. Now we're almost done. We need to get f of x by itself, so we're going to subtract the 9 over 8 to the other side. Okay, and that has to get combined with the 1 that's already there. Now think of that 1 as an 8 over 8. And so you're taking 8 over 8 and you're subtracting 9 over 8. And so you're left with negative 1 over 8. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your equation in vertex form. And remember that it's called vertex form because it's super easy and convenient to see the vertex. The vertex would be at negative 3 over 4, comma, negative 1 over 8. Okay. We can also see that this has a couple transformations. A vertical stretch, a horizontal translation, and a vertical translation. Okay, So that's another thing that's convenient about vertex form. Alright, hopefully that was able to explain how you need to go about rewriting something into vertex form.